Could the Chicago Bears make a blockbuster trade before training camp?
Huddle up!
Huddle up, Halas Huddlers. As always, I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On, not CHGO. And with me tonight is Bob Weiss. How you doing, Bob?
Doing great. Excited to talk about some Bears rumors here today. Going to be some fun.
Yeah, we are a little bit less than a month away from the start of training camp, and there's some hot and heavy names that are being thrown around out there by the media. I will say it's by the media, but typically if their media is involved, it could be clickbait or it could be that they're hearing some things, right? So maybe some of these guys are on the market. Whether the Bears are interested or not, we don't know. We will talk about that as we dive in. But it'll be interesting to see. We got 4 guys to talk about that are potential trade targets. And then one guy that might see his way out the door.
Constant rumors about this guy just won't go away.
That's right. All right. Well, let's just jump into it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Rumor number 1, Jalen Ramsey apparently unhappy in Miami, or Miami unhappy with Jalen Ramsey. Not sure which one it is, but the Bears have been linked to Jalen Ramsey in that should a trade go down, perhaps involving Tyreek Stevenson, the trio of Jalen Johnson, Jalen Ramsey, and Kyler Gordon would be easily the tops in the league. So what do we think, Rob? Any merit to this at all?
Merit, I'm going to say no. Mainly because, look, I just don't even see how or why they would go about doing it. They would have to give us some serious draft capital. Jalen Ramsey is under contract for the next through 2028 before his void years start. The one thing is his guaranteed salary is only for this year. So if that trade does happen, it would be something that the Bears could potentially work with about $15 million in cap space still currently. But look, they're 26th in the league in cap space. So I really just don't think they're going to be making a move for a guy that, is already 31 and is kind of on the backside of his career. And where you got Tyreek Stevenson, look, he's coming off of a rough year. I get it. I think it's exploited because of one game. And I think he's going to be fine in the system. Like, he's always been better at man coverage. We've talked about it now for the last couple months. Like, Dennis Allen prefers a man coverage game. So I just don't think that Jalen Ramsey would be the type of guy to make a trade for. That said, I mean, it would be a awesome trio.
Yeah, it's like a dream type scenario, dream team type secondary scenario. So I understand that, but I just don't think the Bears are in the right spot of their, win curve, however you want to say, about the window of contention to go trade for a 31-year-old cornerback. It's just not there yet, right? There's hopefully a 3 or 4 year window here. And Jalen Ramsey at 31 years old is the type of guy who a team who's ready to win right now goes and trades for. And that's just, unfortunately, not the Bears. We're hoping that there's a step forward here. We're hoping there's a playoff here, but it's not like he's the finishing piece to a championship team or championship contender. So, no, just not quite the Bears.
Yeah, they have bigger needs. Definitely bigger needs.
Yeah. So, speaking of bigger needs, one need perhaps not addressed this offseason was running back. Here on the Halas Huddle, we seem to like our running back room a little bit better than consensus out there. But James Cook, coming off a monster season in Buffalo, where he had, I think, 1,200 yards rushing and 16 touchdowns, is unhappy with his contract situation. So, Rob, what do we think? James Cook on the Bears?
I would love to see James Cook on the Bears. I have him in my dynasty team. I was big on him coming out of school. The thing is, I still don't see it happening, but look, this week, this makes way more sense to me than Jalen Ramsey, right? Now, for example, let's say that Ben Johnson is not as high on DeAndre Swift as he has made it seem like he has been in his press conferences. The article that came out specifically about James Cook being an option specifically said, look, they could just do a running back swap. Mm-hmm. There's no draft capital involved. I'd be okay with that. I honestly would. And I like DeAndre Swift. But James Cook, I think he's a better running back. Different style of runner. He's more of a power guy. Guy's just going to, he's got speed, but he's also just one of those guys. He's definitely not one of those guys who's going to shake and bake and then, not go forward, which DeAndre Swift gets called out for a little bit. So, yeah, I would love to see this happen. But if I was going to put it on a scale of 1 to 10 actually happening, where 10 is the chances of it being likely, I'm going to say 1.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not even sure how much I want it to happen. I know that it's an upgrade. I'm not suggesting James Cook isn't an upgrade over DeAndre Swift. The swap makes sense, but it's really the contract that James Cook, this is a contract spat with Buffalo right now. So if you make a trade, the extension has to come, and it's going to be a sizable contract. Yeah. And, the Bears used to have a lot of cap, and it's kind of gone down a little bit. And there's other players going to be still eligible for extensions. Javon Dexter, hopefully. Darnell Wright, hopefully. That, I don't think your future use of this cap space is best used on the running back position, right? We're going to go with DeAndre Swift for one more year at his current cap hit. And then I do believe we're going to say goodbye to DeAndre Swift when all that guaranteed money comes off. And hopefully next year we're getting a stud running back in the draft, or we find another solution there. So I just don't think upgrading running back right now for 2025 is worth the crazy contract extension over the next few years. So
yeah, Jeremiah Love, come on down to Chicago, because that's where I'm at.
Nice. That would be nice. I'm hoping the Bears maybe aren't even in a first round spot to draft him, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't think he's going to be a top 10 guy, but I'm hoping the Bears are drafted in the 20s, not 14th. So
yeah. Or I'd be okay if they even moved up, as long as they're not giving up too much. Right?
Onto the cost.
But
right, you want to go with the next guy here?
Yeah, let's move on. So the next option is defensive end, right? This guy's been in the news all offseason. He's been rumored to be a guy that the Chicago Bears were interested in at one point pre the 2025 NFL draft. Talks about them swapping the 9th pick with, I think they had the 17th pick with
along those lines.
Yeah, with the Bengals, and getting Trey Hendrickson in the deal. And look, Trey Hendrickson, 17 sacks last season, 17 sacks the season before. This is not a 31-year-old corner, right? This is an aging defensive end who still has a lot of talent, who's better than the guy you have currently in Montez Sweat. I would be ecstatic if they somehow made this happen. But again, we're talking a contract dispute. You got to figure out an extension. It sounds like there's specific language that the Bengals are trying to put in their contract that these guys aren't liking. So I don't know. If they could make it happen, I'm not here to work out the numbers. I'm sure it'll kill their cap space. But this would be the one move so far that we've talked about that I would be completely on board with.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would pay for this extension, as long as we're not talking about a 5 or 6 year extension, right? With basically essentially 4 years of guaranteed money. That's not what I want to see. But if it is a 2 or 3 year extension with a high percentage guaranteed money, I think that this is the position that you do it. Adding Trey Hendrickson to this defensive line makes that near, I hate to say the word elite, but near elite in the NFL with the type of talent Sweat and Hendrickson, and then what they have in that interior defensive line right now. It would just be with the offense that you're hoping to grow here. Now the defense is a strength that can take some pressure off that offense. So I would absolutely be okay with it. Now we're talking about likelihood of it's going to happen. I have no idea how to read the Cincinnati Bengals as we get into our next one here too. I have no idea what they're going to do, what they want to do. And it's a complete mess. So it's impossible to predict. But if the cost is minimal from the Bears from maybe a fourth, maybe a third or fourth, and just take the contract, take the headache away from Cincinnati, I think they have to be involved in those talks.
Yeah. And it's just one of those situations where I know the Khalil Mack trade didn't work. But one, you're not giving up 2 firsts for Trey Hendrickson, right? Just the way the situation is, his age versus where Khalil Mack was at, when they traded for him in 2018. But it's the type of move that sets you, you're talking about how Jalen Ramsey isn't the move to kind of put you over that hump. I think Trey Hendrickson would be that move to put you over that hump. I think they would be instant Super Bowl contenders, even with the sophomore quarterback and a rookie head coach.
Well,
Yeah, I'm going that far because I mean,
I'll say instant like NFC North contenders.
but
like,
that's all you need.
Right.
If you get yourself in the playoffs, that's literally all you need.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. All right. I'm really curious what you think about this next one here, Rob. Shemar Turner, another contract dispute out in Cincinnati. There's specific language, I think, having to do with guaranteed money versus personal conduct policy type stuff. And Shemar is holding his ground. Cincinnati's holding his ground. And it's always interesting when a player, he has every right, but it's always interesting when the hill they're willing to die on is that personal conduct line. So that's always fascinating. So, Rob, is there any chance Cincinnati is looking to trade Shemar Turner? And should the Bears have any interest at all?
So I'm going to answer the first part of that question first. I think the answer there is absolutely not. Like, they've already put in the what they got for him, whatever pick 17, I think is what, like I said, I think it was the 17th pick in the draft. That being said, I mean, there's probably a small chance, right? If a team were to come and say, hey, look, we'll give him what he wants in his contract. What do you want for him? But it's going to cost you a lot because they gave up a first-round pick for it.
It's probably going to be at least a 2026 first-round pick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For a guy who never should have been drafted that high in the draft anyway, I don't want Chicago anywhere near him. I was completely against it pre-draft. I said his second-round pick would be – I think I said I wouldn't have touched him before pick 25 is I think where I said I would have landed, mainly just for the upside. Looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. He just cannot contribute stat-wise on the field, is always just close enough, but can't get there when it comes to sacks. Just horrible production in college. And when you see that not translate at the college level, now to think that that's going to translate at the NFL level, I just don't see it. And this is the Roquan Smith situation. Roquan Smith was the same situation when he first got here. Didn't want to sign his contract. It was also personal conduct stuff. I believe he didn't have an agent. And then that whole thing just kind of went south. And now he's in Baltimore. Good riddance.
Yeah, and I got nothing to add to that. I mean, Shemar Turner wasn't a football player in college. I just don't see how he's going to turn into a football player in the pros, especially now that the first thing he's trying to do as a pro is not play football. So yeah, I no thank you.
No love for the game.
But speaking of football players, one of the show favorites here, just these rumors will not go away. The latest one is it's kind of speculation, but it might be informed speculation that perhaps the Chargers, your guy Jim Harbaugh, might be interested in Cole Kmet. They're really lacking a tight end weapon for Justin Herbert over there, so that could make some sense. And then the other one is the Chiefs looking to kind of supplement Travis Kelce, and you got Matt Nagy over there. So Rob, what about these latest Cole Kmet rumors?
Still not happening. He's my guy. He's not going anywhere. I will say, though, and I prefaced this earlier in the offseason, if things start to go south early in the season, and there's a team looking to upgrade their tight end position at that trade deadline, end of October, beginning of November, yeah, that's when you might see him get put out the door, right? That's where you might see him shipped off. And I don't think it would be in the sense of, sorry, Kmet, like, you're just not good enough. I think it would be more along the lines of, look, the way our future is going, you're probably not going to be here in a year or two anyway. The contract situation doesn't really make sense to trade him anyway. Like, they're not saving money by trading him now. But maybe, Ryan Poles, we've seen him do well for, other players in the past. Justin Fields, for example. Maybe he's like, hey, go see if you can get yourself a ring. Go see if you can compete. And those two teams that you mentioned, I think are going to be in the running. Obviously the Chiefs. But I think the Chargers, too, will be in the running on the AFC. So,
yeah, I mean, there's two ways I want to go with this. One is building off what you just said a little bit. Like, Cole Kmet won't necessarily be shipped out of town. Like, get out of here, Cole. We can't stand having you around. Like, his contract is not insane, and he is a good, productive player. Like, he will be a player in demand if he gets available on the trade block. Like, people will be lining up to try to get Cole Kmet, because solid veteran, production in his past. fair contract. Like those are the types of players Contenders trade for if they have a need at tight end. The second thing, which I think is a little bit more interesting, is the other part of this rumor was apparently Jason Leisure, Bears beat reporter, has stated that Ben Johnson has more say in personnel decisions than Ryan Poles, which is just kind of fascinating when you see kind of what happened up in Detroit with Hawkinson getting shipped out to a division team, no less. So if Colson Loveland is Ben Johnson's guy and Cole Kmet is not, then these rumors will never end and they will never die until there's some type of concrete resolution to that.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it would happen before training camp. I know that's what we teased it. And the main reason is, look, Loveland hasn't even really been practicing because he's still dealing with that shoulder injury. Who knows how long it's going to be before he's, a full go. Yeah. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
We'll see. So, all right, Halas Huddlers, this was a fun little short episode, a little run through some rumors that we've been hearing. So we're very curious to hear what you guys all think. Make sure you, comment which one do you like. Make sure you subscribe if you're not yet. And Rob, you got anything else for him?
All I got is bear down and claws up.
Claws up. Ready, break.